Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashoda Nandana Vraja Janaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Ajaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Govinda Radhe Jaya Gauranitai Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Nashtaprayesva Bhadresu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishniki. We're reading from Śrimad Bhāgavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 26, verse 25 and 26. I think everybody has a phone, right? And when Prabhu comes back, we can figure it out. So again, it's Śrimad Bhāgavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 26, verses 25 and 26. So I'll read 25 by myself, and then we can read 26 together. Sahasra shirsham sakshad yam anantam prachakshate sankarshanakhyam purusham bhutendriya manomayam. The threefold ahankar, the source of the great elements, the senses and the mind, is identical with them because it is their cause. It is known by the name of Sankarshana, who is directly Lord Ananta with 1,000 heads. Please repeat after me. The threefold ahankar, the source of the gross elements, the senses and the mind, is identical with them because it is their cause. It is known by the name of Sankarshana, who is directly Ananta with 1,000 heads. It's Lord Ananta. Lord Ananta. Text 26. Please repeat after me if you have it. Kartritvam karanatvam cha karyatvam cheti lakshanam shanta ghora vimhuratvam iti vasyad ahankrite. Kartritvam karanatvam cha karyatvam cheti lakshanam shanta ghora vimhuratvam iti vasyad ahankrite. Kartritvam karanatvam cha karyatvam cheti lakshanam shanta ghora vimudhatvam iti vasyad ahankrite. Please repeat. Maybe ladies can start today. Oh, okay. Kartritvam karanatvam cha karyatvam cheti lakshanam shanta ghora vimudhatvam iti vasyad ahankrite. Kartritvam karanatvam cha karyatvam cheti lakshanam shanta ghora vimhuratvam iti vasyad ahankrite. Ladies. Kartritvam karanatvam cha karyatvam cheti lakshanam shanta ghora vimudhatvam iti vasyad ahankrite. Kartritvam karanatvam cha karyatvam cheti lakshanam shanta ghora vimudhatvam iti vasyad ahankrite. Kartritvam karanatvam cha karyatvam cheti lakshanam shanta ghora vimudhatvam iti vasyad ahankrite. Kartritvam, being the doer. Karanatvam, being the instrument. Cha, and. Karyatvam, being the effect. Cha, also, iti, thus, lakshanam, characteristic, shanta, serene, ghora, active, bhimudatvam, being dull, iti, thus, va, or, syat, maybe, ahankrite, of the false ego. Translation: the false ego is characterized as the doer, as an instrument, and as an effect. It is further characterized as serene, active, or dull, according to how it is influenced by the modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance. Please repeat after me. This false ego is characterized as the doer, as an instrument, and as an effect. It is further characterized as serene, active, or dull, according to how it is influenced by the modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Ahankara, or false ego, is transformed into the demigods, the controlling directors of material affairs. As an instrument, the false ego is represented as different senses and sense organs. And as a result of the combination of the demigods and the senses, material objects are produced. In the material world, we are producing so many things, and this is called advancement of civilization. But factually, the advancement of civilization is a manifestation of the false ego. By false ego, all material things are produced as objects of enjoyment. One has to cease increasing artificial necessities in the form of material objects. One great Acharya, Narottam Das Thakur, has lamented that when one deviates from pure consciousness of Vasudev or Krishna consciousness, he becomes entangled in material activities. The exact words he uses are Satsanga chadi koinu asate vilas te karane lagila ye karma bhanda fans. I have given up the pure status of consciousness because I want to enjoy in the temporary material manifestation. Therefore, I have been entangled in the network of actions and reactions. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Statpitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kantha Radha Kantha Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha kalpadrubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Kam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripatamaham bande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Param Ananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna, everybody. Thank you for attending today's Śrimad Bhāgavatam class. And I would just like to start with seeking the blessings of all the devotees present here. All of you are very senior to me, and I would like to seek your blessings so that the right words may come out of my mouth with the right mood and the right spirit. So this Śrimad Bhāgavatam, we have finished the first three. We're in the tail end of the third canto of Śrimad Bhāgavatam, which is a conversation inside a conversation. If you'll say, this is in one of the conversations, it's Maitreya and Vidura is speaking, and this is the conversation, and inside that conversation is another conversation, which is who's speaking here? Kapila, and who's he speaking to? Devahuti. And who's Devahuti in relation to Kapila? Mother. So the son is instructing the mother. And basically we're in the middle of his explanation of Sankhya philosophy. And in this specific verse, it's talking, and the last verse as well, it's talking about the false ego, ahankara. There's a nice verse in Bhagavad Gita which talks about ahankara. Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasa ahankara vimudhatma karta aham iti manyate. So in this verse specifically, in this verse in the Bhagavatam, it speaks about, oh, I wish the last verse was on there, but Shanta Ghora Vimudhatvam. It's saying the three types of people and how the false ego is being represented through them. So Shanta means sober, peaceful. Persons who are in the mode of goodness, for them this material world is manifest and it's okay, they're riding with the mode of goodness. And the Ghora, there's actually a nice verse in the second chapter of the first canto. Ghora is actually, I've never actually seen it translated like this as active. What is it? Sattvam, Ghora Rupan. Ghora means kind of like scary forms, like the demons and things like that, they're material forms. But here, Srila Prabhupada is speaking that those are active, or active means mode of passion. And one who is working in the mode of passion, they're making plans on and on, full of activities. And then the last section is the one in ignorance, and the Bhagavatam says is vimudhatvam. Vimudha means they're like animals. They don't know the aim of life. They don't know what is there to work for, and the value of life is based on temporary pleasure, not eternal pleasure. So this false ego is actually very active in our lives. Every step in our lives, we're thinking that I am this body, I am being controlled by this, I am being very happy. Even Krishna says, actually, he plays the part of a demon in the Bhagavad Gita, 16th chapter. It's a very nice verse to memorize. 16th chapter is so nice, actually, because it's a whole chapter about me, a demon. So Krishna says in this verse, idam adye maya labdham, this is 16.13 through 15, imam prapse manoratham idam astidam apime bhavishyati punardhanam This is the section. Aso maya hata shatru hanishye chaparanapi ishvaro ham aham bhogi siddho ham bhalavan sukhi. The demon thinks that Ishvaro ham. Who's Ishvar? Is it Krishna? It's not Ishvara Parama Krishna. Ishvaro aham. I am the Ishvar. Aham bhogi. Bhogi means I am the enjoyer. I am meant to eat how we in the temple, we take bhoga and we offer to Krishna, and we take the remnants as prasadam. Actually, no. Everything is meant for my enjoyment. Bhoga. And Siddho ham, Bhalavan Sukhi. Siddho, I have attained Siddha. I am perfect actually. I'm what is the discussion here? Siddho ham, I am perfect. And then Balavan, I'm the strongest. And I'm the happiest. And this is actually very opposite to what we actually are. If we think that by doing these things we are becoming sukhi, you're actually become dukhi. But you're intoxicating. Dukhi means distressed person. Sukhi means very happy person. So if you actually thinking that you're sukhi by acting like this, Prabhupada says it's like the camel is in the walking in the desert and he's thinking, oh, I am very thirsty. I need something to drink, but there's no water. Where do I get water? Oh, there's a nice cactus. Let me eat this cactus. Then he eats the cactus and the thorns pierce his tongue, and then basically he's drinking his own blood, and he's thinking, oh, this is very tasty. I am very satisfied by this. But actually he's drinking his own blood. Same way, when you are acting under ahankar, you may think you're very happy, but actually you're causing yourself more pain. So prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasha ahankara vimhudatma kartaham iti manyate. That an intelligent person will actually know that everything in this world is being caused by these three modes of material nature. Goodness, passion, and ignorance. Everything is we're being acted upon that. And this idea of false ego. There's the true ego, and then there's the false ego. The false ego is described in the Bhagavatam as, there's this verse, Pumsa striya mituni bhavam etam tayor mitho hridaya grantir ahu ato griha kshetra sutapta vither janasya mohoyam aham mameti. That Pumsa striya mituni bhavam etam, this attraction between male and female is the basic principle of material existence. That's what gets us here. It's the basis of misconception. Tayor mito hridaya granthi. Hridaya means heart, granthi means knot. It has a big knot in the heart, this attraction. And one becomes attracted to, what does he get attached to? Ato griha kshetra sutta apta vitter. That he gets attracted to home, the griha, the body, property, children, relatives, wealth. He gets intoxicated by these things, and in this way, janasya mohoyam. Jana, he's thinking. Mohoyam. Moho means Krishna's another name is Madana Mohana. Means Mohana means to bewilder. So janasya mohoyam, and the living entity is being more bewildered. Aham mameti. This is mine, I and mine. You are my friend, I like you. You are my enemy, I wish for you to be destroyed. This is the way that the world works. So janasya mohoyam aham mameti. So the living entity is subject to more and more illusions and forgets what he actually is. What is a living entity? Sanatana Goswami, when he's talking to when he first sees Lord Chaitanya, he actually, even though he's such a nice scholar, he knew Persian, was like worth millions and millions of dollars. He says, Ke ami, ke amar tare tapat troy. He says, who am I? Where have I come from? These are actually intelligent questions. If not, you're working towards something, but you actually don't know what you're working towards. Unless you ask these questions of who am I, where am I going, what is the reason I'm here. So So the position that's given in our Shastra is Jivera Swarupo Hoy, Krishner Nitya Bhog, not enjoyer. Das, right? What does das mean? Servant. So servitude is actually our natural position. Our natural position is to be a servant of others. And yesterday, and Srila Prabhupada was mentioning Narottam Das Thakur, yesterday was the appearance day of Narottam Das Thakur. And Narottam Das Thakur actually, in our whole Gaudiya line, servitude is actually so nicely given. So the guru of Narottam Das Thakur was Lokanath Goswami. And Lokanath Goswami, Maharaj was speaking about Lokanath Goswami extensively yesterday, Chandrasekhar Maharaj. And Lokanath Goswami was so humble. He was known for his humility. You know, when Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, another devotee, he wrote the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So basically, when you write any book, when you write something, you're supposed to get the blessings of the seniors and the senior Vaishnavas. So he goes around Vrindavan, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, and he's like 100 years old at this point. So he goes around Vrindavan and he asks for blessings of all the senior Vaishnavas. So he goes to Lokanath Goswami. And he goes to Lokanath Goswami and he says, "My dear Prabhu, my master, please give me blessings to write Chaitanya Charitamrita. If you don't give me your blessings, I will not take up such an endeavor." Lokanath Goswami says, "Yes, you must definitely write Chaitanya Charitamrita, but I will give you my blessings under one condition. In the whole book, you should not mention my name once. I do not want my name to be mentioned. If anybody hears my name, all impurities and all misfortune will come upon the person if they just hear the utterance of my name once." And so Lokanath Goswami is so humble. And Narottam Das Thakur travels all the way from the east side of India to Vrindavan. And he's looking for Lokanath Goswami because that's who came in the dream. And Lord Chaitanya told him to go and approach Lokanath Goswami for initiation and to take shelter of. And he approaches Lokanath Goswami for initiation. And then Lokanath Goswami says, "You are such a rich person. You are so learned. Who am I to initiate you? I cannot initiate you. I'm sorry. I'm too fallen." And then Narottam Das Thakur is heartbroken. He weeps. And he's unable to understand how to move on with his life. And basically, what he does, Lokanath Goswami, after Narottam Das Thakur, is actually quite amazing. This is why this is one of the way I'm tying it back to the false position that we currently are in. So Lokanath Goswami every day would go and offer and pass, use the restroom and so many things. And he would go behind a certain bush. And Lokanath Goswami, every day he would go behind this bush. And Narottam Das Thakur says, "My dear," sometimes even if our the spiritual master doesn't accept us, we may accept a spiritual master. And actually, Narottam Das Thakur has already had initiation in the heart. He's like, "This is my guru, even though he may not accept me externally. He is my master, you know." So he accepts Lokanath Goswami as his master, and he says, "My master is going to the restroom behind this bush. Let me clean it up with my hands." So he uses his own bare hands to clean up and he brings fresh dust. He cleans it with water very nicely. This is a nice meditation if you're ever asked to clean a bathroom, which is very good. It's good to clean bathrooms. Cheto Darpana Marjanam. It cleanses the heart. So basically, he's cleaning the restroom of a spiritual master. And basically, Lokanath Goswami says, "How is it that every day I use the restroom, it is always immaculately clean? How is it done so?" Then one day he sneaks on, sees Narottam Das Thakur, and he catches him. He said, "Do not do this. Do not do this. It's breaking my heart if you are cleaning." And then Narottam Das Thakur starts crying. He says, "You won't give me any other service. This is the only service which I'm qualified to do." And basically, Lokanath Goswami says, you have won my heart, and I can initiate you on this day. So, if you juxtapose this, now this is an immense servitude. This is the service mood personified. Now, if you look at it nowadays, like when I moved here from India when I was maybe like 8 or 9, I moved here from India, and then I was very surprised actually that first of all, in India, most people nowadays it's different, but most people don't have dogs. It was very rare when I was growing up, and I was very very amazing that my friend had a dog and he was walking him, and then this dog passed stool, and he uses his own hand and puts it on a thin piece of plastic, and he picks up the stool and he ties it, which is like very common, but it's very rare to see it nowadays. So if you look at it, even we who are maturely conditioned have the propensity to do devotional service. Everybody has to do this. But Narottam Das Thakur cleaned up the restroom of his spiritual master. He gets purified. We pick up the restroom of our dogs and our cats, and we get degraded. It's so amazing. And actually, the service of the spiritual master is it has the way of purifying us to no other ways. This is from Canto 7, Chapter 9, Text 15. Rajas tamas cha sattvena sattam cho pasha mena cha etat sarva guru bhaktya purusho hi agyasya jayet. One must conquer the modes of, if you want to conquer the modes of passion and ignorance, you must develop the mode of goodness. And once gets and still entangled by mode of goodness, and you have to come to the platform of transcendental goodness, which is in Sanskrit Shuddha Sattva. And this verse says, Etat Sarvam. This can all, Sarvam means all. All of this can be completed by one task. If you just do this one task. Guru Bhakta Purusho hi agyasya jayet. That if one engages in the service of the Guru, of the service of the spiritual master with faith and devotion, you don't even have to worry about, I'm in the mode of passion, I'm in the mode of goodness, I'm mode of this. It just naturally occurs that you'll be elevated to the platform of Shuddha Sattva if you are engaged in the service of the Guru. Even Krishna comes in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And if he comes in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, was he like teaching that, I am God, I am this, I am that? He says, no, I am coming as Gopi Bhartur Padakamalayur Dasa Das Anu Das. He says, this is the highest position. It's actually the highest position, to be the servant of God. If you understand this idea of that, if to be a servant of others, even Krishna says, Aham Bhakta Paradhino. In ninth canto, in the pastime of Ambarish and Durvasa Muni. Durvasa Muni is going to various people, various entities, and he's going to ask forgiveness for the thing he did to Ambarish Maharaj. And he even goes to Vishnu. And he goes to Vishnu and he cries, "Oh Vishnu, you've thrown the Sudarshan. It's you who are doing it. You can call it back." And he says, no, aham bhakta paradhino. I am completely dependent on my devotees, on my servants. Does this make any sense actually? That usually the servant is dependent on the master. But here, Vishnu, the master, is saying, I am dependent on the servant, because Lord Vishnu is bound. He's bound by the love of his devotees. And once he's bound, that's the whole pastime that we're celebrating this whole month, is how Namo Deva Damodar Ananta Vishnu. He is Ananta Vishnu. Prasida Prabhor Luka Jalad Bhi Magnam. How can the unbound be bound? The unlimited be bound? Does it make sense? Someone who's the whole Mother Yashoda goes and sees why you have eaten dirt. She goes inside and she sees the whole cosmic universe in his in the body of Krishna, Mridvakshan Lila. And then Mother Yashoda is immediately, she's tying him with ropes. How does that make sense? Because he's bound by his devotees. This is the understanding. So this ahankar is our obstacle in devotional service, this false ego. And ahankar is, I was looking into this ahankar a bit, and it's described like honey. Sridhar Swami, a commentator on the Bhagavatam, says ahankar is like honey. Honey has two main qualities. One you may know. What is one quality of honey? It is sweet. And if it's so sweet, and if you eat too much of it, it becomes intoxicating. Even I was talking to one of my Nepali friends. They actually have a special honey that's so sweet, it's considered an intoxicant. And in ISKCON in Nepal, they don't allow the devotees to eat that honey. It's because it's that intoxicating. So, honey is described like the ahankar. Ahankar, one thing is when you have the false ego, everybody's glorifying me. Oh, I did such a nice cooking. I did such a nice kirtan. I did such a nice this. Oh, everybody's glorifying. I'm loving it, And if everybody's saying it, democracy rules, then it must be true, right? If everybody's glorifying me. And it reinforces our conceptions about ourselves. And we're steeped into an intoxication that I am this. I am great. I am the enjoyer. I am so many things. And Krishna tries, but actually this is our unnatural position. And Krishna tries to save us actually. He saves us by a couple of things. One way he instructs us through Bhagavad Gita and Śrimad Bhāgavatam. He says, Mamai vamso jiva loke, jiva bhuta sanatana, manashastani indriyani, prakriti sthani karshati. You are my part and parcel. So anything, if you understand this verse, that part and parcel, anything good that you have is because you are connected to Krishna. That is the understanding. Any good quality you have, any great thing that you do, is because Krishna has willed it. And the second thing that Krishna tries to do is that he displays his amazing pastimes. So even if you're so great, let's say you play the mridanga or the harmonium, there are people in the spiritual world, living in the spiritual world, like Lord Shiva, who is known to, I think, play the mridanga. And he can play so many beats and so many tals that you've never even heard of or can conceive of. And if you think you're such a good cook, it's described that Srimati Radharani would not prepare the same preparation twice. Can someone make that vow? I will not make the same preparation twice. I don't think anybody can do that. And spiritual world is unlimited, ananta. There's no time factor. So it just keeps going on and on every day. And you start thinking, oh, how many recipes are there? So if you start thinking like that, the ahankar, the false ego, starts to fall away. And I'd just like to discuss this song that Srila Prabhupada is quoting, Narottam Das Thakur song, Satsanga Chadi Kaino Asate Vilas. This is from a song called Gaura Pahu. Gaura Panhu. Gaura Pahu. And it's so nice, this song. Oh my gosh, this is such a nice song. And I'll just read the translation. And Prabhupada is quoting in this purport, he's quoting the third verse. So verse 1 is, I do not worship Lord Gauranga, and thus I have become full of suffering. I refuse to accept the treasure of pure love of Krishna, and thus I became lost. So this is, it's talking about the gradation about falling down in spiritual life. So it's going lower and lower and lower and lower in this song, verse by verse. So he, first of all, he's saying that I did not worship Gauranga, and then I did not accept the love of Krishna, and I became lost. First, you're lost. You don't know where you're going. Second thing is I reject the treasure of love of Krishna and deliberately struggled to become poor. Does anybody struggle to become poor? You trying to become poor. I'm trying to reject. I'm doing everything I can to reject you, Krishna. And I dived into the host of sinful deeds. So many sinful actions I have done. Then third verse, this is the one that Prabhupada's quoting. I rejected the association of saintly devotees. And instead I tried to enjoy amongst impious non-devotees. In this way, I became caught in the a noose of karma. And this next verse is like, I was very surprised to hear this. I continually drank the virulent poison of sense gratification. Poison. And I refused to swim in the nectar of Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement. When you engage in sense gratification, he's saying that it is poison. And Narottam Das Thakur, in his all humility, is saying, why do I stay alive? What happiness do I have? Why did Narottam Das not die long ago? Why did Narottam Das not die long ago? So such humility, Narottam Das Thakur is saying, but it's very instructive on how we can understand this song, is that if we try to enjoy our senses, it's like drinking poison. We're actually Vishaya Chadiya Kabe Shuddha Habe Man, that we're knowingly drinking poison. What is that song, knowingly drinking poison? If I have not accepted the lotus feet of Nityananda? Yeah. Jania, I know I'm drinking poison by not accepting the lotus feet of Radha Krishna and Nityananda Prabhu. But I'm still drinking it, you know? So, but actually another name of Krishna is Madhusudana. Madhusudana has many meanings, and actually there's a whole Satyaraj Prabhu article about this. It's really great. It's called the Madhusudan mystery. And in all of Krishna's pastimes, there's not one. We say, what does Madhusudan mean, generally? Who is Madhu? A demon. But he's not in Krishna's pastimes. Why? In Bhagavad Gita, 5 times, Arjuna calls Krishna Madhu, the killer of the Madhu demon. As early as chapter 1, he says, you remember, that's like one of the first names Arjuna calls. Let me find it. He's saying 135, yeah. Matula svasura pautra syala sambandhinas tatha eta na hantum ichchami ghanto pi madhusudana. But Krishna, in his pastimes, if you read a Krishna book, there's no description of him killing a Madhu demon. Not that I've found of. And Satyaraj Prabhu, and actually Madhu is another meaning why I'm discussing this. Because we talked about Madhu means honey, Madhu, Ahankar means intoxicating, and it's described like honey, like it's so intoxicating and sweet. And Madhusudan means the killer of Ahankar, killer of the false ego. And basically, there's actually a story that's little known about. Does anybody know the story of Madhusudana? About Madhu, the killing of Madhu? So I can narrate this. I'll read from this nice section. So this is when Lord Vishnu is sleeping on Sesha. He's sleeping, and then the lotus stem comes from his navel, and Brahma is sitting. It is said that as Brahma sat in deep meditation, earwax flowed from Vishnu's ears. 2 ferocious demons, Madhu and Kaitaba, were born out of that wax. They performed great penance for thousands of years. Pleased by their penance, Lakshmi, the Lord's consort, appeared before them and granted them that boon that they would die only when they desired. Only when they desired. Sounds like another demon we know. Who's that demon that wanted to die? Hiranyakashipu. See, Jayananda's answering all the answers, Extra scoop of halwa for Jayananda. Yeah. Huh? Kofta? Impact. Good. He's been eating his protein. Proud of their newly acquired asset, the demons became outrageously arrogant. They attacked Brahma. Still, he's meditating on his lotus stem and stole from him the 4 Vedas. They stole from him the 4 Vedas. Brahma was helpless in the presence of such powerful adversaries. He rushed to his one and only shelter, Vishnu, asking for help. Vishnu, however, was in deep sleep and did not want to wake up. Even though Brahma tried his best to awaken him. Realizing that the Lord slept for reasons of his own, Brahma decided to pray to Yoga Nidra, who is none other than goddess Lakshmi herself, in a special form to assist in the Lord's yogic sleep. As Brahma had hoped, she showed mercy on him and awakened the Lord. Brahma then told Lord Vishnu about the nefarious deeds of Madhu and Kaitava and begged him to destroy them. Lord Vishnu manifested as Hayagriva, the beautiful horse incarnation, and fought with Madhu and Kaitava, ultimately retrieving the Vedic scriptures. So, Krishna comes as Hayagriva, who is like Nrsimhadev. We have half man, half lion. Hayagriva has the head of a horse, and he retrieves the Vedic scriptures. But they could only die. The demons could only die when they wanted to, as the boon has stated. So Vishnu told them, just as goddess Lakshmi had given the boon, that they should give him one. So Vishnu is begging from these demons, please give me a boon. Like Lakshmi has given you a boon, please demons, give me a boon. And then they were so merciful, they're like, we'll give you a boon. In their arrogance, they fell for this ruse. What boon do you want from us? We shall give you anything you want. And the Lord replied, I want your death. And they died. And so Hayagriva put an end to their menace once and for all. So this doesn't solve the question, why does Krishna use the term Madhusudana? Why does Arjuna use the term Madhusudana in Bhagavad Gita? Why that word? Why not Kamsani Sudana? Why not Keshava? Why Madhusudana? Any guesses? Any thoughts? Bhakti Shastris? So if you look at this pastime of Madhu, the killing of Madhu, first the Vedas were retrieved by Hayagriva. So knowledge is given. So Krishna is asking these questions he's saying Madhusudana. He's saying Madhusudana in one more verse. Anybody know the verse in 2nd chapter? 2.1? 2.1 exactly. Wow. Another scoop of halwa for Param Brahma Prabhu. So, atam tatha kripaya vishtam ashu purna kula kshanam vishidhantam idam vakyam uvacha Madhusudana. Sanjaya said, seeing Arjuna full of compassion, his mind depressed, his eyes full of tears, Madhusudana Krishna spoke the following words. So Madhusudana, the killer of ahankar, false ego, Arjuna is coming with a false conception that these are my family members, these are my life. So Prabhupada is actually giving the answer in this purport, in why Krishna is called Madhusudana in 2.1. The word Madhusudana is significant in this verse. Lord Krishna killed the demon Madhu, and now Arjuna wanted Krishna to kill the demon of misunderstanding that had overtaken him in the discharge of his duty. So this misunderstanding, that is what this whole ahankar is. It is just a misunderstanding. So if we pray to Madhusudana, then actually Krishna, he will get rid of these misunderstandings that we have. I will just say one more pastime that is mentioned in this article. It's actually quite sweet. Madhu actually means honey, and And this is a story from Vidagdha Madhava by Rupa Goswami. And one time, Radha and Krishna were sitting together in the groves of Vrindavan, and a bee was flying around Srimati Radharani's ear. And Krishna actually requested one of his sakhas to chase away the bee. And after finishing the task, the sakha came up to Krishna and he said, the madhu is gone. Madhu is gone. Madhu can also refer to bee. And Radharani, hearing this, that madhu was gone, she understands this. Actually, madhu is another name for Krishna. So she starts crying because she thinks Krishna is gone. Krishna's gone away. Even though Krishna is sitting right next to Radharani, Radharani is still thinking, Madhu's gone. And seeing Radharani cry, Krishna starts crying. And basically they cry so much, it becomes a sacred pond. And that pond is called Prem Sarovar. If you go to Vrindavan, it's still there. Prem Sarovar. And that's basically Prem Sarovar is, if you look at Radharani is separating from Krishna. Krishna is in separation of Radharani. And these tears become Prem, which is love. When you're in separation, which it means love. And that is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give. So it is 56. I'd like to leave some time for any points, questions, or answers, or arguments. Prabhu Vishnu can settle all arguments. So, anybody have any thoughts, questions? Divyangi? Mataji? A mic to you in 10 seconds or less, or your money back. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 1.
Thank you for the nice class. It sounded like when we try to glorify someone or we do compliments to someone, we would increase their false ego. So what would be the right way to glorify someone, or just to say nice words without doing misservice to them? Disservice.
Yeah, it's interesting. When you glorify somebody, you may actually puff up their false ego. Actually, one way you can look at it is it's cleansing our heart. When we see the good quality of others, it's cleansing our own heart. But also you don't want to glorify falsities. Actually, people are very intelligent like that. That if you glorify things that are false, they'll actually pick up on that. Like when you go on books and then book distribution, and then you're like, and if you're when you're trying to compliment people to try to get their attention, if you're not complimenting something genuine about them, if I go up to a bald person and says, "Oh, nice hair," then it's like what? So in that way, I think we shouldn't glorify things that are false. What we actually appreciate about another person, that can be glorified. And you have to think about, is it well for their spiritual life, and is it truthful? Bhagavad Gita says, actually this is from Gita itself, chapter 17, verse pleasing 15. Satyam priya hitam chayat, that austerity of speech consists in speaking words that are truthful, pleasing, beneficial, and not agitating to others, and also in regularly reciting Vedic literature. So when you speak to somebody, make sure it is pleasing. If let's say somebody cooks a sabji that is very, very not good, like somebody cooks like an avocado halwa or something like that. If somebody cooks something like Jayananda, don't get any ideas. If someone cooks an avocado halwa and it's like, oh my gosh, and then they ask you, how is it? They're like, yeah, it's so amazing. This is the best halwa I've ever had. It may be pleasing, but it's not truthful. Is it beneficial? But if also when you're giving feedback to others, this is actually a nice thing, is that if somebody does do something that's not good, like cook something nice, there's a way of there's a whole thing now in modern culture called non-violent communication. So instead of, let's do a little role playing. If Jananda cooks this avocado halwa, and then I'm like, oh my God, this is so gross. And I go up to him and he's like, and he worked so hard on it. And he's like, he's like, he worked all morning. He cooked it for the devotees. He wanted to please the devotees. And then I just go up to him and I said, Jananda, this is the worst halwa I've ever had. You're ashamed to your family that you're the worst thing that came out of Slovakia. Like I say these things. And then, but what's beneficial about that? But there's a way of me communicating to him that it's not very good, but that it's not agitating to him. And then you can say something like, Jananda, I think that you tried really best to serve the devotees, but I think getting something from the Hare Krishna cookbook, the recipe book, maybe something better, some traditional fruits. Maybe avocado is not the best thing. Avocado and ketchup is not the best thing to put in a halwa. You can say something like that. And Jananda may be like, oh, he didn't like it. But it's not agitating towards him. It's beneficial, it's pleasing, and it's really nice. And he might take that as beneficial. So I think that's how we should compliment. It's not to puff up their false ego, but puff up their true ego, their true understanding. So that's what I think about this. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for the class. Really, really beautiful and very easy to follow. I have one thought on this, Divyangi's question is like complimenting the quality of the person, not saying like, oh, you're a good person, you're a good book distributor, like, oh, that's a really good way to approach people. It's like, then they're understanding what it is. So they're not identifying like, I'm good. Then I also have a question. I was reading Bhagavad Gita yesterday, and the second chapter, one of Prabhupada's purports, he's talking about how one of our, the things that we do wrong is that we cannot differentiate between the individual soul and the super soul. Because you mentioned this, we should ask ourselves, who are we? And so when we realize that we are the spirit soul, or we hear that we are the spirit soul, how do we differentiate between the individual soul and the super soul? Because we have both within our hearts. So what does it look like to identify with the individual soul versus super soul? What is that relationship?
Yeah, this comes up in the Bhagavatam also. There's a verse in the second chapter, first canto. Vidyate hridaya granthis chidyante sarva samsaya chiyante chasya karmani drishta evat manishvare. That when the knots of the heart are cut, that drishta evat manishvare. Drishta means to see. Evat ma ishvare. That I am the Ishwar. To see the self as the Ishwar. But the self in that verse, I think it's 1-2-21. 1-2-21 Bhagavatam. Yeah. Drishta evat manishwari. Thus the knot in the heart is pierced, and all misgivings are cut to pieces. The chain of fruitive actions is terminated when one sees the self as the master. So when you see self, you might think, whoa, I'm the master. But actually, Gita actually, there's a purport Prabhupada gives that there are two birds living side to side in the tree. One is the witnesser bird, one is the acting bird. And the individual soul, the jiva, is the individual living entity, and the super soul is just watching. It is watching what you do. And it'll support you in Krishna consciousness, but it'll go along. So it may be sometimes difficult to kind of see that I am the difference between the individual soul and the super soul. It's actually not that difficult if you understand that you're individual. Mamai vamso jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana indriyani prakriti sthani karshati. You are a part and parcel of Krishna. Such a small and infinitesimal and individual, but still a part. Like an ocean, we're a drop. Like the ocean of salt water has all the qualities of God, but it is a drop. A drop of water has the same quality, but it's just a drop. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, yeah, it does. So I guess when so the individual soul is it still connected with false ego? Would we still kind of think that we are the enjoyer or the doer if we are? Because I feel that maybe most people, myself included, are identifying more with false ego rather than even the individual soul. Like, what does it look like to go from ego to individual soul and then from individual soul to super soul? Like, what does that look like? Each stage.
I mean, the individual soul is covered. It's in a covered position because it's being it has so much coverings for lifetime after lifetime. 8,400,000 species. It's been kind of covered over, and basically, it doesn't even know who it is anymore. So when we get to this process of bhakti, then we or Krishna consciousness, you start to cut through the layers of what is who you actually are. We actually don't know who we are right now. But when we take to the process of Krishna consciousness, you'll start to see, oh, I'm an individual, and Krishna is actually in my heart as well. What is that verse? Sarvasya chaham hridhi sannivisto mata smritir jnanam apohanam cha vedasya sarver aham eva vedyo vedanta krit veda videva chaham. Krishna is in the heart of all living entities. But we won't recognize that unless we cleanse the heart. Cheto darpana marjanam. So by the process of Krishna consciousness, one can reveal this. Hare Krishna. It's 9:07. I'd like to pause there and pause. You never stop Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam never stops. Bhagavatam party doesn't stop because, what is that saying? No, there's an English saying. A Bhagavatam party doesn't stop because it's stopped. Something like that. Granth Śrimad Bhāgavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bo. Boo.